General Settings and DSP Effects. The functions on the Settings page work as global parameters for all articulation presets. Use the upper right buttons to switch between Settings and DSP Effects. The DSP Effects page holds 8 different effects including reverb, delay, chorus, phaser, flanger, compressor, equalizer, and a low-pass filter. Fader setting. Adjust the behavior of your mouse with these controls. Most faders in Hein winds are horizontal, but if you prefer to control them with a vertical movement of your mouse, you can switch to vertical. You can also adjust the length of the mouse movement. Check which settings work best for you. Holding down the Shift key while moving any fader lets you fine-tune the edit values. Release effects. The release effects applies to the release of a note. 2 different versions of release samples have been recorded. Volume sets the volume for each release version independently. Density and dynamic vary the release samples automatically to provide more liveliness. Density varies the amount of release samples being heard in percent. 100 means every note has a release sample at the end. 20 means only 20% of the notes are played with a release effect. Dynamic varies the volume of the release samples and lets you adjust the velocity response of your MIDI keyboard. Curve sets the curve for the velocity response. Setting the curve to 0 results in a linear response. Min sets the minimum velocity, max sets the maximum velocity. Pitch bend. You can assign the pitch bend range separately for bend up and bend down from 1 to 12 semitones. Ensemble. You can set up a group of wind players here. Voices. Select 1 to 5 instruments to play. Spread sets the stereo spread of the instruments. Detune detunes the sound in sense. ADSR. You probably already know what ADSR is. Attack sets the fade in time for the sound. Decay sets the time until the sustain level is reached. Sustain sets the level maintained from the end of the decay stage to the start of the release stage. Release sets the fade out time after releasing the key. Microtuner. All samples in Hein winds are perfectly tuned to the standard chromatic scale with A at 440 Hz. However, real players don't usually play perfectly in tune. You can edit the tuning in precise detail using the microtuner. You can create your own tuning scales by shifting the tuning of each note up or down, or you can use one of the pre-programmed tuning scales based on some of the most famous historical scales. Key sets the root key of the scale. Amount scales the overall amount of detuning. A master tuning knob is available in the header of the instrument. Hold down the Shift key on your computer keyboard while turning the on-screen knob for fine tuning.